Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome to Moment of Clarity. Thanks for joining me for the live stream. Really appreciate it. You guys are my heroes, my personal heroes, second only to He-Man. Okay, He-Man's up there, but you guys are, you're giving him a run for his money. You really are. I like that it was the he and the man. They were like, not only were back in those days when I was a kid, not only were they into like gender norms, but they were like, you know what? He is not enough. We need he man. Because if we just say he, people might mean they might go, do you think he means she? And we're like, no, man. So they're like, he man. Because if we just call him man, then they'd be like, well, but what's his gender? Well, it's he. What's his pronoun? He man. Or maybe you could view it the other way, that it was really ahead of its time because they were like, sure, we could just call him man, but then people might not, they might not know his pronouns. So let's be polite. Let's give his pronouns, and so everybody can choose their own pronouns, and so we'll be polite. We'll put it in his name. He'll go by he man. Anyway, for those of you who don't, yes, and then there was She-Ra, as someone pointed out in the comments. Because apparently that's too much. Okay, we can't handle that much estrogen. Just with the she, and then we'll throw the sun god in there. Okay, we'll give her pronoun and then sun god. Okay, she woman is too much. This is a room full of men writing this and drawing it, and we're not gonna. It's she and just sun god, and then we get the sun in there, so that also is male. Anyway, I don't know how we got off on that. And for anyone who out there watching who's never heard of He-Man, that was a fucked up intro. I mean, it was fucked up to begin with, but it was beyond the pale. So, welcome. Thanks for joining me. As I already said, unfortunately, I don't. So I had titled it with Rania Khalek. Rania Khalek was going to join me. She does amazing work. She's on Breakthrough News, et cetera, et cetera. So if you saw a title that said Rania Khalek, she cannot make it. She tried, and we actually experimented for a few minutes there with her internet, but she is in Lebanon, and due to fuel prices, because, I don't know, Russia maybe is invading Ukraine, and then the U.S. is trying to crush them economically in a proxy war, and so unfortunately that's hurt fuel prices, and so that has what's called like a butterfly effect, like a ripple effect, where it just goes out into the world and just fucks everything up. And apparently no one on the American side considered that through all this. Well, I mean, and the truth is they don't care about anyone, so there's that reason. But anyway, so because of fuel prices, her generator or the generator of her building that allows her to have good internet is not working very well. And so, yeah, her internet is shite at the moment. So unless you guys really wanted to have an interview where I would just ask her questions and there'd be a frozen thing of her pixelated going, and then every once in a while you'd hear half a word. Hey, you. Okay. False flag. Unless you guys wanted to see that, we chose not to do the interview. So Rania's not going to be here. Although in the future, maybe I can have a still pixelated image of her and we can just substitute in whatever we want her to be saying. But anyway, hopefully I will have Rania Khalek on next time, but she's not here today. So if you saw that title and you're like, this dude does not look at all like Rania Khalek, then you might know why. Okay, so live here, live at rockfin.com/Lee Camp. As most of you already know, but I do have tons of stories. I forgot to add that. I have tons of stories for you, so this is going to be a great episode. Don't worry about the fact that Rania's not here. It will still be a great episode. And in fact, before I say what I was going to say, let's start with a video that everyone needs to see. This is a talk show. It's been subtitled in, I believe, Chinese, but it's not a Chinese talk show, as you'll see. I believe it's an Indian talk show. But anyway, I'm going to let it mostly speak for itself. It's an American professor speaking to a Indian professor about why India has not jumped in with the West to try and destroy Russia. And again, in case you need clarification, I am opposed to Russia's invasion But I also want, I don't know the truth. So I'm not going to just make up false garbage like our mainstream media, because anything anti-Russia is wonderful. Yay! Because guess what? Russia is more than Vladimir Putin. Russia is has a lot of opinions. There are anti-war protesters there. So when we do this thing where we just trash everything that's Russian, literally people are throwing rocks through windows of Russian restaurants here in Washington, D.C., which does what exactly? You are from a country that we don't like what their ruling elite are doing right now. So if I hurt your business and break your window, that helps stop the government in Russia, thousands of miles away, from doing the thing we don't like, because your business will be hurt. Yay! I mean, ignorance is fucking amazing around here. Like, the level of ignorance is just truly incredible. Okay. So, as you'll see there, the American is chastising the Indian for not, for his government not jumping in and working with the West to destroy Russia economically. In fact, India, and I'll be talking about this more in an upcoming video, India is working with Russia on buying fuel from them in a ruble agreement, which would basically work around the petrodollar. And you know how much the U.S. loves that. So you got to see this 2-minute video. Here we go.
What you're seeing is the West organize solidarity against Russia.
No, West.
The nations
No, Professor Kapchan.
We're seeing serious sanctions against Russia. Yeah. Most of the world is coming together against Russia. India should get off the fence.
Okay, now I'll tell you something, Professor Kapchan. I hope that you will allow me a decent response, and then Ambassador Pawan Verma will respond to you. I see John wants to respond to you. First, I'd like to. First of all, with the greatest of respect, Professor Charles Kapchan, you have no moral standing to talk. You are in no position, you as in America is in no position to pretend to be the guardian of democracy and human rights. You are the worst perpetrator of atrocities. You, in Barack Obama in 2011, intervened in a nascent Libyan civil war, using the NATO and Arab League partners, prolonging the war for 1 decade. You launched armed conflict in at least 6 countries: Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Niger. You carry out drone strikes. You've killed thousands with your drone strikes. You run Guantanamo Bay. You're dealing with India. We're a big country. We're not your satellite state. So don't lecture us on what we need to do. We're going to look out for yourself. You use the phrase geopolitical expediency in place of values. You lecture me as an American to an Indian on values, and you say that we are acting in geopolitical expediency. Allow me to complete, sir. Allow me to complete. Where were your values? Where were your values? Where were your values when in the first 2 months of the US invasion of Iraq, 7,186 Iraqi civilians were direct casualties of the war? Was that your expediency? Was it an expression of your values, Professor Kapchan?
That was fucking epic. I mean, I like that they added the badass music underneath, the like we needed that. But I don't know who added that music. But I don't think that was live. That's not usually going on live in those shows. But he fucking destroyed him. Because it is true. It's like, no matter what your opinion is on what Russia's doing, whether they're doing pinprick strikes in Ukraine or whether they're obliterating the country, no matter what your view is of what's going on there, it's hilarious that America would have any fucking moral high ground to stand on and lecture other countries about how to care about innocent civilians, about how to care about those who are exploited. We should be the last one on the roll call of who to ask on how to defend innocent people, how to defend human rights, how to defend freedom of press, how to defend any of these things that we claim to stand up for, that we claim as that we fucking tattoo across the flag. We should be the last on that list because we have proven again and again. And honestly, that guy is kind of going light on him because he lists the 7,000 people that were killed in the whatever first week in Iraq. But all told, it was 1 million. I mean, the Lancet Medical Journal has done extensive reporting on this and research on this. It was basically 1 million people killed in Iraq. All told, it was 6 million killed so far in our war on terror, quote unquote, that has gone on for 20 years. So honestly, that guy's going easy on that American douchebag who has the nerve to act like India, a country of what, 1.38 billion people, I believe it is, act like they're some kind of feudal state of the American empire. And these countries have just gotten tired of being treated this way. You know, we tell them to just fall in line and just back us, back the American empire on all of our endless killing and exploitation. And right now we're asking them to back us in a proxy war that is going to have ramifications far beyond Russia. Again, even if you're opposed to the Russian invasion, as I am, the economic ramifications, repercussions of what we're doing right now will ripple through societies, ripple through Europe, ripple through America, ripple around the world, and hurt, guess what, the poor the most. So even if you're opposed to the Russian invasion, as I am, you should not want to just harm poor people the globe over, because these wars are not actually between these countries. These wars are not actually between Russia and the U.S. It's not actually between China and the U.S., between Venezuela and the U.S. All these places we have economic war against them, between Iran and the U.S. Really what it is, it's the ruling elites of these countries that are fighting each other. The workers, the poor, the middle class, they should be the ones uniting against the ruling elites. Instead, we're told to all fall in line of our nation states, have a little fucking thought box that says, I am American, all America does is good, all other countries do is bad. Nationality, toxic nationality is so fucking harmful in the way we think. It just stokes fear and hatred and desire to use weapons, economic and otherwise, to harm people. And this guy just tore him a new one. Well done, dude. Well done. Don't let these people lecture you on, oh, India has to get off the fence. Yeah, maybe America needs to fucking stop intervening in every goddamn country. All right, let's get on to, let's see. Like I said, I have several stories here. We have one more kind of related to Ukraine. So I don't know if you guys saw this. This is not the first one like this, by the way. So this is Lloyd Blankfein. Oh yeah, I forgot. I skipped over this at the beginning because I wanted to get started into that video. But if you like videos like this, if you like the videos I've been doing, if you think that I should be able to keep doing a show, that I should be able to bring back something that has the same comedy and feel as Redacted Tonight, then I need you guys to join at patreon.com/EliteCamp. You get exclusive content there. You get you get easy access to ask me questions. You get a free PDF of my last book, Bullet Points and Punchlines. All of that comes with signing up over there. And you can, the lowest level is $1.25 a week, $1.25 a week. And I hope you'll join over there because honestly, that's the only way this will keep going. As most of you already know, my TV show was canceled along with the entire network recently. At the same time, all of our past videos over the past 8 years were banned on YouTube globally. At the same time, my podcast, Moment of Clarity, was deleted from Spotify. So the suppression, the censorship is immense. I mean, it is getting to a level that we haven't seen in decades. We have seen it before. And usually when we've seen it, we then act like we apologize for it as Americans. We have these things where we sometimes we have hearings. Sometimes it's just talking in news radio and everything else where we go, oh, remember that awful time back during McCarthyism when we just deleted, canceled anyone who dare stand up and say that we shouldn't be at war, stand up and say that workers should matter. You remember that time back when we did that? Oh, that was awful. Oh, can you believe we were ever so uninvolved? That's how we usually have this circular history where we come back and we do it again. And we did it in World War I, which I'm going to cover today on Government Secrets, my podcast. We do it in World War. We did it in World War I, where anyone who dared say we shouldn't be at war, who dared say we shouldn't be using chemical weapons to murder thousands of people. You were called a German lover. You were called a traitor. You were put in prison. Eugene Debs locked up with a 10-year sentence for daring to critique the war, to criticize the war effort, which is generally murder. So we've done this before, and back then bricks were thrown through German restaurants in World War I, and we renamed things. The hamburger got called the Freedom Burger or whatever the fuck, and the German measles got called the Freedom Measles or the Liberty Measles or something. I'm not even kidding. And yeah, like, look it up. We do this again and again, and now we're in the next cycle of it. We're doing it again, where anybody who dares say that we shouldn't be involved in killing and murder and pushing ourselves towards nuclear war, we're all censored, deleted, we're cut from the airwaves. And right now I know that an outlet, because they asked me for an interview, and they can go fuck themselves because I know what the interview is going to be about. But an outlet that I don't even want to give you their name because they don't deserve it. But one of the main outlets is doing a report on Ukraine misinformation and really what it's going to be, because they're asking to interview me, is it's going to be an attack on anyone who dares go outside of the mainstream media airwaves, anyone who dares be anti-war. We've already been purged from the airwaves. My show's already been deleted, but that's not enough. They need to keep going after us. They need to go after our ability to have a platform like this, the one of the few platforms I'm hanging on to, the 12 people that my Facebook page actually shows my videos to. So that's that article. I'm sure that article will come out soon. Anyway, that's why I need you at patreon.com/Lee Camp. As most of you also know, I've spent my career not really trying to do these things, trying to avoid things like Patreon. Luckily, I had a job and a TV show where I didn't have to do that. And so I largely avoided it. We would mention a tiny little Patreon on my podcast, but for the most part, I avoided it. And now I have no choice. So here we are. This is where it brings us when we see this massive attacks, these massive suppression, massive censorship. Anyway, someone you should definitely be listening to tweeted some wonderful stuff the other day. This is Lloyd Blankfein, the former, right? Did he finally step down? The former head of Goldman Sachs. I believe he's still one of the top of people at Goldman Sachs, though. So multi-billionaire, total piece of shit. In many ways responsible for the collapse that happened in 2008. Many people's homes and lives could have been saved if he hadn't demanded the money that he was collecting, that Goldman Sachs was collecting from places like Lehman Brothers and investors and shit like that. So anyway, could have saved millions. Let's just say, I don't need to get into the weeds on it, but could have saved millions of people's homes and helped millions of people. Chose not to because he wanted to continue to enrich himself as he does today. Here is, and these are really, he's one of these people that are the real owners of the American society. They're not usually in the government. They just own the people in the government. So he's really one of these people. All right, here we go. Lloyd Blankfein. Worth noting, Even Hitler didn't permit his military to use chemical weapons, though he had them. Now, few things wrong with this, folks. Some of you might have realized this. First of all, I believe gas chambers count as fucking chemical weapons. You flying piece of shit. You don't think it's in the name? It's in the name. Gas chambers. It wasn't called a fucking firing chamber. It was a gas chamber. Chemical weapons, asshole. Even Hitler didn't use chemical weapons. You are a phenomenal piece of shit. And from one Jew to another, what the fuck's the matter with you? Jesus Christ. So that's problem number one. Hopefully you all caught on to that one. Problem number two is that this is clearly the lead up to some sort of false flag. Putin has no need to use chemical weapons, okay? Even the people in our government, even the people in the U.S. government will tell you that if Russia wanted to, they could turn Ukraine into a parking lot. I really hope they don't do that because I'm anti-war and anti-killing. But they could do that without chemical weapons. So why would they use, and the same went for Syria, which we now have proven, the 4 OPCW whistleblowers, endless journalism, have now proven that the chemical weapons were bullshit in Syria. But why would Russia use the one kind of weapon that is the red line for America and the West, right? Why would he? Well, clearly because he wants NATO to get involved. He wants to create World War III. That's why he would do it, right? That's why it's useful to him. No, it's fucking insanity. But the reason you now have Biden talking about this, you have Lloyd Blankfein, who owns our government, talking about it. The reason this is now a subject that keeps percolating up is because they are preparing something. This is exactly how it worked with Syria, right? The U.S. government said, we just feel like there might be some chemical. We just want you to know that if chemical weapons were used, it would be a red line. We just want everyone out there to know that. And then, what do you know? Assad is like, well, I'm dying to cross that red line. I hope America bombs the shit out of me. That'd be fun, right? Right, guys? Huh? Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me? I got the goldfish in a bag. Let's get out of here and use some chemical weapons. So now we've had all these whistleblowers at the OPCW, the world's top chemical watchdog, chemical weapons watchdog group, come out and say, no, that is not, Syria did not use chemical weapons. And so we have this is exactly the same lead up as we saw in Syria. You start putting all the American intel says that the chemical weapons could be used. Putin's considering it, that and then, but that would be a red line. Oh my goodness, that would be a red line. And then, what do you know? Chemical weapons used. So same buildup, same bullshit. I hope the American people don't fall for it, but we like to fall for things because we're fucking idiots throwing bricks through Russian restaurant windows because that's gonna fix it. So we're gearing up for the same shit. And here you have bags of rotting fecal matter like Lloyd Blankfein telling you that even Hitler didn't use chemical weapons. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. You flying sack of rotting, diseased animal carcasses. Okay. So now that we cleared that up, by the way, that's also the same thing that Rachel Maddow said. Well, no, actually, hers was, believe it or not, hers was slightly even worse. Rachel Maddow, her official Twitter account, posted, and I showed it on here before, so I'm not going to pull it up again, but posted that even Hitler didn't kill ethnic Germans, didn't kill his own people like Putin's doing. Well, first of all, that is a complete misinformation as to what's going on here. But beyond that, actually, Hitler killed millions of Germans. And the idea that she put forward is the Nazi idea. That is one of their talking points, the Nazi talking point, that Jews or Roma or black people or etc. are not ethnic Germans. They don't count as Germans, right? Hitler didn't kill Germans is a fucking Nazi talking point. So eventually, Rachel Maddow got so much flack for this that she apologized, said she regrets the tweet or something like that. Anyway, so let's go on to our next story. We're actually moving away from Ukraine for the moment. This is a quick mention of Madeleine Albright. We talked about talked about her a bunch yesterday. You guys know Madeleine Albright, piece of shit, Secretary of State under Bill Clinton, said that killing 500,000, specifically, she was asked whether killing 500,000 Iraqi babies because of our economic sanctions on Iraq, whether that was justified. And she said, I'd like to think it was. Yeah, killing 500,000 babies is always, there's a lot of things to justify that. Like the philosophical question, would you push the fat man? Would you push the fat man off the bridge to save 4 people that are on the train tracks? Well, this is, would you push 500,000 babies onto the tracks? Huh? What's your answer? Besides how long that would take you. Could you imagine just going down the line, pushing 500,000 babies? Take forever. I get that they're small, but still, that's a lot of pushing off the bridge, man. But Madeleine Albright, fine with that. Fine with that. Yeah, kill 500,000 babies. Sure, why not? As long as it makes Saddam Hussein mildly uncomfortable. Kill 500,000 babies. As long as he goes, oh, I wish those babies wouldn't all die. All right, so this is incredible. So she died 2 days. She died 2 days ago, Madeleine Albright. She died 2 days ago, and hold on, I'd like to think it was worth it. I just want to add that. Madeleine Albright died 2 days ago. I'd like to think it was worth it. Here is a post. This is a photo in Guantanamo Bay, U.S. naval base. You know what Guantanamo Bay is known for: torture, killing, imprisoning people almost entirely without even charges. Not only have they not been found guilty because our fake justice system could find anyone guilty, but they haven't even found charges to bring against most of them. And yet they've been in there. Some of them have been in there for a decade or more. Of course, tortured endlessly, as we know, going against the Geneva Convention. This is Guantanamo Bay. And they have their flags at half-mast for Madeleine Albright. This is an institution known for killing and torture, putting their flags at half-mast for a known war criminal who likes to think it was worth it. This is so incredible. But then beyond that, I love the fact that there's a McDonald's flag. Can we just replace the American flag with a McDonald's flag? Can we just do that? Can we acknowledge that the McDonald's flag represents the United States better than the American flag does? Can we just say that and acknowledge that we're at that place now? McDonald's, listen, McDonald's stands for some shit. The American flag doesn't mean shit, but the McDonald's flag, you get your order on time. Food's usually hot, sometimes too hot. There's a variety of sauces. See? That flag stands for something. It's usually served to you with a smile on the employee's face because they get hot fryer oil dumped on them if they're not smiling when they hand it to you. So I think fuck the American flag, put the McDonald's flag up, and that's all you need. It represents us more than the American flag. Yes, and some of you might be wondering why Guantanamo Bay would have a McDonald's flag outside of Guantanamo Bay. And the reason is because there's a McDonald's in Guantanamo Bay. I'm not kidding. Yes, there is. I think mainly for the soldiers. I don't think the prisoners get a lot of the McDonald's food. Maybe it's part of the torture. Maybe they, you know, we shot right. Supersize me. You give them if all you give them is Big Macs every day for a month, they'd fucking have liver disease. You know, it'd be an interesting form of torture, but they could do it. You know, heart disease. They would be struggling, man. Maybe it is. Maybe it is fed to the prisoners. I don't know, but I'm not kidding. You can look it up. There is a McDonald's in Guantanamo Bay. There's like a million McDonald's around the world. The McDonald's logo, I saw one study said it's more recognizable. That logo is more recognizable around the world than the Christian cross, because there are large swaths of the world that there's no Christians, but there are not large swaths of the world that there aren't McDonald's, apparently. But how much does this image represent, huh? It says a lot, doesn't it? Because keep in mind also who they don't lower the flags to half-mast for, right? They don't lower them for activists who die. They don't lower them for people who've done amazing community service work, who have devoted their lives to making sure everybody in their city gets fed and housed. You don't see those flags flown in half-mast for that, do you? No, those flags are flown in half-mast for fucking war criminals. That is it. That is just about it. They don't lower them to half-mast for people who put out books on the you know, how America's founded on racism. They don't lower them for half-mast for all the professors, for all the amazing people, for people, for you know, people that like Kevin Zeese that we lost just a year ago, amazing activist, devoted his life to helping people and creating actions to try and hold this empire accountable. When he died, did you see many flags at half-mast? No, because he wasn't a war criminal. If you see a flag at half-mast, it means someone god-awful has died. Almost always. That is what it means. If you see a flag at half-mast, if you see the American flag and the McDonald's flag at half-mast, then just thank your lucky stars, because it means one less mass murderer is on the loose. That's what that means. Almost exclusively. All right. By the way, if you want to see more videos like this, coverage like this, then please check out patreon.com/Lee Camp after this video and become a member. And if you're already a member, increase your membership. Anyway, also join my free email list. It's if you just text in America, if you text the word redacted, REDACTED, to 33777, it instantly signs you up for the free email list. I have more stories coming up, by the way. Instantly signs you up to the free email list. And if you're not in America, you can sign up at leecamp.com for free. There'll be a pop-up window that asks you to sign up. Let's see. Let's go on to the next story. As you know, everybody in America is suffering, but it's going to get a lot worse because gas prices are going to go crazy. And it's, you know, and who suffers the most? People who are very poor. Those are the ones who suffer the most. People deciding whether to fill up their gas tank or buy more food for their kids so that they can eat more for dinner. Like that, people are making that decision right now, and it's only going to get worse. And this is so we can have economic war against Russia, which, you know, there are ways to stand up against Russian invasion that do not harm poor people around the globe. You goddamn idiots. I mean, it's just amazing to see this happen and to see them behaving this way. It's just pure stupidity. We've done it again and again and again, and the blowback is immense. Honestly. But here's Joe Biden. Short video, 20 seconds. Here's Joe Biden. I don't know the person that posted it, so, but Biden's talking about food shortages.
Nothing more to report. With regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well.
Did you hear that, folks? the idiot economic war we're creating is not just imposed on Russia, it's imposed on ourselves. Well, then that sounds like a great plan, doesn't it? Crush poor people in America. That beautiful plan. Beautiful plan. But America's back is up against the wall because we're no longer the empire we used to be. We're struggling economically. We don't have as many countries under our thumb economically. So we're trying to crush we're trying to crush Russia and separate them from China because that's the only way we can keep our hegemony, our global ownership. Here's an idea. Maybe we don't need to own the globe. Maybe we shouldn't be the world's policemen as we kill 6 million people over the past 20 years. Huh? Is that an idea? No. Couldn't possibly do that. Couldn't possibly back off for 3 seconds. Let's hear this idiot speak again.
Nothing more to report. With regard to food shortages, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well.
Yes. And our country will probably be the one suffering maybe least from it. But as he mentions, we're also going to do this to European countries. Oh, I'm sure they can't wait. So this actually serves a purpose of America beyond just trying to crush Russia. It forces the EU kind of back into a feudal state. If they're struggling economically, if they're having trouble, they've got to buy oil now from America where they were buying it much cheaper from Russia. And so they're put back in a feudal position below the United States, which obviously we can't go to war with them. And we can't even go to economic war with them. We can't say, hey, we just want you guys subservient. We want you to be a vassal state to the American empire. We can't just say that out loud. So instead, we're doing it via, we got to stop Russia. Let's also subordinate all of Europe and make them groveling at our feet for our oil. So it serves multiple purposes. But as he's saying, it's going to hurt Americans. And guess what? When he says Americans, who's he talking about the most? Fucking poor people. Fucking people who are already struggling. That's who's going to get the most hurt by this. And, does he care? No, not at all. And this perfect segue, in my final story here, this is Applebee's franchise executive. An Applebee's franchise executive, so an exec at the top of an Applebee's. And it shows you how executives think. For those outside of the U.S., maybe you don't know, Applebee's is one of these chain restaurants that tries to have a family feel that looks identical in every city. Basically, they homogenized all American culture so that every American city looks the same. We got our Applebee's and our TGI Fridays and a Waffle International House of Pancake and a Dunkin' Donuts. And that's our culture now. So every American city looks fucking the same. And each one of these restaurants tries to make you think, one of them has the slogan, eating good in your neighborhood, right? Doesn't it? I don't know which one that is. But eating good in your neighborhood. Yeah, we care about your neighborhood. No, you're a fucking chain. And your job, honestly, is to just homogenize all of American culture and turn it into this shitty, mass-produced fake food. But anyway, that wasn't my larger point. This is a leaked memo from Applebee's. And I did check this to make sure this guy, that this wasn't just some fake thing. And by the way, I don't know who this guy is also. He's got his Ukrainian flag up there. The requisite I'm a dumb liberal little flag next to his name on Twitter. But anyway, I wanted to show you. So these are the leaked pages of this Applebee exec. And it's, they're responding to him. Here are all his fawning sycophants responding to him. Great message, sir. Team. So here's his initial email to the team. Team, everyone has heard that gas prices continue to rise. Now, you think his next sentence is going to be, we should really help struggling people. No, his next sentence is, the advantage this has for us is that it will increase job application flow, and has the potential to lower our average wage. And then he goes on to say, how, you ask? I love that. He just said, gas prices are going to go up and people are going to be fucked and have to apply for shitty jobs like these. And That's his opening sentence. And he thinks in the mind of your average person, well, how so? That's what he thinks your next question is, rather than, did you really just say this? Did you really just say this, you sad, creepy fuck? That should be the next question. But no, he thinks, how you ask? Anyway, here's the rest. Here's the rest of the email. Most of our employees' base and potential employee base live paycheck to paycheck. Okay, is that not a problem to begin with? Most of our employees live paycheck to paycheck? That means you're not paying them enough. Like, that should be... I love that these guys just take this for... Oh, yeah, most of our employees live paycheck to paycheck. That's because, let's face it, you wouldn't be here unless you weren't really desperate in life. No, you would not. You would not be here. Because we know you're at Applebee's because you're fucked. The more you know. So, live paycheck to paycheck. Any increase in gas price cuts into their disposable income. Okay, that sounds like a bad thing. Shouldn't we be upset about that, you know? Shouldn't we as a group be upset that that's their life? Nope, don't care. Don't care at all. As inflation continues to climb and gas prices continue to go up, that means more hours employees will need to work to maintain their current level of living. We are no longer competing with the government when it comes to hiring. He's basically saying, because you didn't get your $2,000 what he means by competing with the government, he means you got your $2,000 check or you're getting unemployment. So basically, any type of social safety net hurts the number and wages, not hurts the wages, hurts our ability to pay them the least. Any type of government help, assistance, unemployment, $2,000 checks that they didn't send out to a lot of people, any of that hurts our ability to hire people at like slave wages. That's what he's saying there. We are no longer competing with the government when it comes to hiring. Stimulus money is no more. Supplemental, there he says it outright. Supplemental unemployment is no more. This benefits us as prices rise. People who are relying on unemployment money simply will have less money to spend. It will force people back into the workforce. Like, he's coming outright and saying, people are going to be fucked. They're going to be struggling. They're not going to have any extra money. They're not going to have any savings. And that means we can hire them for less. That means they are willing to work at this miserable job for back to lower wages the way it used to be. And this guy's excited about this. Now, of course, hilariously, he doesn't seem to be thinking about the fact that your customers aren't going to have the money to pay for your dumb food either. But apparently that didn't occur to him. Force people back into the workforce. Furthermore, other competitors, especially mom and pop companies or smaller businesses, we get to fuck them. Yay, Applebee's. Other competitors will have to either raise prices, cut employee hours, or pay employees less hourly to hit their more profit margins. Some businesses will not be able to hold on. This is going to drive more potential employees into the hiring pool. So this is corporate America, one of the large corporations in America, Applebee's in every city, celebrating that mom and pop shops, places that don't have chains around the country and around the world more of them will go out of business. More of them will suffer. More of them will struggle. They won't be able to get by. And guess what? That's going to send all of their employees over to us, willing to work for less. Hurrah! I mean, this guy is sending this out as a positive email to his underlings, and he is an executive at Applebee's. This is how they think. Honestly, this is not anything new. This is literally how they all think, how all those executives think. It's just rare that they email it out and that it gets leaked to us. That's honestly the only difference. We all competed to hire out of the limited applicant pool, and there was a wage war. We all saw businesses hiring team members at $18 to $20 an hour. Oh, God forbid. They will no longer be able to afford to do this. Trucking is the backbone of America, and as fuel costs rise, so will the charges for shipping. If those costs cannot be passed on to the customer in terms of menu price, the only area they can cut sizable costs will be in labor. The labor market is about to turn in our favor. Hooray! I mean, honestly, this is such disgusting drivel. This guy is celebrating the pain of your average American because fuel prices are going up and mom and pop shops are continue to go out of business. 1 out of every 3 restaurants, I believe, is already out of business, or maybe it's 1 out of every 3 mom and pop restaurants has already gone out of business during this pandemic. And here is a corporate executive at a corporate restaurant that has destroyed any culture, helped destroy any culture America has had left, celebrating that these workers will now work for less. Great times. Great times. And honestly, this is standard corporate America. And corporate America owns your media, which is why you generally don't hear these stories. I'm not saying this story wasn't, covered for 3 seconds on some mainstream outlet, but you generally don't hear these stories because they're doing the bidding of corporate America, talking about this, talking about the fact that this is how executives' fucking sociopathic brain works. That's bad. That's bad for corporate America, so it's bad for corporate media. So corporate media generally doesn't do stories on things like this. They'll do, 1,800 stories on poverty porn about how kid couldn't afford his cancer treatment, so all of his friends in school had a lemonade stand and made $17 to contribute to the $90,000 his parents owe. They'll do a lot of poverty porn like that. Acting like this is a sustainable system or makes any sense at all or is okay in any way. They love it, but they won't cover these stories usually. All right, well, that's what I have for today. And, but I am working on new videos. I'm working on new Redacted at Night comedy style videos. But I need you guys to help out. Go to patreon.com/Lee Camp. I'm sure many of you probably already know this, but so I tried not to work with Patreon, but unfortunately there really is not a good alternative if you're trying to create exclusive content for members and things like that. I mean, maybe I'll be able to move to something in a while, but for now it's patreon.com/Lee Camp. And you all probably also know this, that the platform takes a cut, unfortunately. But then if you're doing a comedy show, have to hire staff, have to have equipment, things like that. So, yeah, hopefully I can do it if, and I like it being done with small dollar donors. Patreon.com/Lee Camp is where you can do that. The lowest level is $1.25 a week. And you get lots of cool exclusive stuff. So trying to keep fighting despite being, I think, one of the most censored comedians in America. At least the most censored comedian in America that's not like promoting hate speech. Well, hate at your corporate executives. That I'll take any day. If you want to accuse me of promoting hate towards the sociopaths who run our society and try and destroy everyone's lives, then yes, I'm fine with that. I'm proud of that. And I will salute that. I will lower my McDonald's flag to half-mast to salute that. Let's see if there's any questions here. Thank you for all the kind words, folks. Linda says she already joined. Thanks for doing that. Thank you. Good question, Wendy. So Eleanor and I are hoping to tape a new podcast episode very soon in the coming days. And we're also hoping to do a new live stream in the coming days. So hopefully not long. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, Robin, this is a good point that these executives now assume people have second and third jobs. How do they? But it's like you should have a life too. Having second and third jobs. I mean, I get it. I get why people have to do it. If you add up all the work I do, it's basically 3 jobs. But I get why people have to have second and third jobs just to get by, just to scrape by, and it's fucked up. We shouldn't celebrate that. You know, corporate America likes to tell you proudly, this single mother has 3 jobs. Look at her go. It's like, no, that's completely fucked. She should be able to have a life. She should be able to work a job and take care of her kid and fucking live a life and follow her passions and enjoy her existence. Instead, we're just like, she works at miserable jobs. All right, all day, every day. She sleeps 4 hours and she'll, you know, because of all the sleep deprivation, probably die at 37. All right, good times. But yes, you're right that these shitbag executives assume people just have multiple jobs. And it's really sad that that's part of their equation now. Like, oh, well, it's okay that I don't pay anything because you'll just get multiple jobs. All right, guys, thanks a lot and keep fighting.